Hey guys, so I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how to do an alpha set. And I do have one of these already in the Procreate tutorials, but this one is actually going to show you how to do the accents and the patterns with a glitter. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add a text box. And I already have this set for my preppy script. And that is for lifetime members, you guys know that it's in the font section. And it's also listed in my Etsy shop. And you guys are allowed to do this with most of the commercial use fonts because you're not selling the font, you're making a new design, right? So this is from a previous tutorial that didn't work out. So I have my text here and I'm going to lower the opacity for that. And then in my lettering brush set that I am adding for you guys, I have a lettering guide here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that on and I'm going to drop this to where my letters are kind of on the base of a line there. Then I'm going to go to a new layer. I'm using lettering brush 5 from the lettering brushes I made for you guys. And I am going to go in, that needs to be up a little bit more. There we go. Okay. So this one is a pressure sensitive, letter 5 is. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to work on going over basically like tracing for lettering like this. But every single time you do this, it's going to look different. I have just learned that. So there is my bears. And then I actually like to distort that just a little bit because I like it to be a little bit closer together. Turn those off so you guys can get a better look. Oops. Made that. So there is bears. So that is how you would hand letter using a font as a reference. And like I said, you can use most fonts for this because it's no different than making a finished bears SVG, which most commercial use fonts are allowed. So I am going to reiterate that that is a commercial use font. If it says it's not for commercial use, then you cannot do this. The other option that you can do is actually just use the lettering guides and freehand it. And I'm going to go lettering brush 6 for this one. No, I'm not. Lettering brush 3. Yeah, I like the 3. I bumped that down just a little bit. Say it was 3. It was 4. I'm still learning the brushes, guys, so as we go. But lettering brush 4 is one of my favorites because I like the flat look. It looks kind of like a marker. But what you do is you have your lettering guide on a layer, and I have the opacity down, and then you go to a new layer. Now I'm going to I'm going to hand letter rebels. So I'm going to start with a big fancy R, and then I'm going to come up, and every single letter you can kind of stop if you need to. So every single time I'm not drawing on here, it's because I've lifted my brush, pull that over just a little bit, and then do my S. And then, you see how there's like some overlap? Sometimes if I just cannot get it right when I'm actually lettering it out, I'll just take my little erase tool and just erase the parts that don't look correct. Because sometimes the brush just overlaps a little weird. And then see, like on the E, it kind of overlaps a little bit there. So I need to take off a little bit of that. And there you go. And then once again, I like to distort it. But if you like it having a little bit, longer, that's fine. And then there you go. So then I'm going to turn off the lettering guide for you guys so you can see what these look like as a finished result. So there's Rebels, and that was with lettering brush 4. And then this is the Bears, which was lettering brush 5, I believe. And I am going to work on, I think 7 is a little bit more pressure sensitive. So let me actually drop the opacity and do that one more time. Yeah, see how that one's even more pressure sensitive? And then I can kind of do some thinner strokes going up. And this is just going to take practice. Practice makes progress for this, guys. So you're just going to write and write and write and practice and practice and practice with fonts until you get it down. And then you kind of develop your own style. So I really hope that this helps, and I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. Drop any comments or questions or more requests in the group for me. Thank you.